Hi, you've never seen me before, but I guarantee you'll see me again. I'm gonna go by Ryle for now. Today, I'm gonna be talking about my luckiest vinyl experience. Now, I've been collecting vinyl for about 8 or so months since, yeah, I'd say about 8 months. And I have a good, healthy chunk of coming up on 30 records back there. And I primarily get them from a store called Half Price Books. Now, as the name suggests, it is a used bookstore, but they have a whole section for video games, movies, music. Um, I got, I have this whole shelf of CDs right here. I'd say 75% of these are from Half Price Books. Ignore my little stuffed animal harem that I have in the corner right there. But in recent years, recent months, I think I have been going there for vinyl. Now, the prices at Half Price Books, here's the strange thing about them. So, they have both the most outrageously good and the most outrageously bad prices. And I would say it varies from location to location, but I've been to many locations and they always have amazing and abysmal prices at the same store. So I can't even say it depends on the store because you're probably gonna, see it a fair share of both of them. I'll give you a quick example. I'm gonna set those to the side here. Right here, I got. Let me see. Where the hell is it? Mr. Magic by Grover Washington Jr., right? I picked this up for $8, and I also picked this up because when I was holding it in my hand, some random middle-aged guy came up to me and he pointed at it and he was like, "That's a great album." And if somebody does that to you in like a record store, if you're buying a record and you're holding a record and someone says it to you, that there's kind of like an unwritten code where like you're obligated. Now you're just So like I said, I picked this up for $8. I saw this at another Half Price Books in significantly worse condition for $20. And it's not like, oh, that must have been a first press then. It was the exact same press. Everything was the same about it. Same thing, I have a copy of George Benson's Reason, which, I mean, I love this album. This is like Weather Channel music. I got this for $6. Same exact store, $20. The jacket was ripped. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's the people working there. I don't know if it's just what they're checking. I'm assuming they, scan the value of whatever comes in and then prices them accordingly. But I'm going to get into the story here, and you're going to see that is not what happened in this instance. So, there's a Half Price Books about, I'd say, I ride my bike to it, and it takes about maybe 15 minutes to get there with my bike, 15, 20, give or take. So, that's my main, that's my main place to get records, and I go there a lot, especially now that it's summer. That's why I've received a major boom in records lately because I've been going over there so much, and I've also been experiencing a massive loss of money, but that's just, everything has a price. Now, this one particular time, this was about a month ago. I'm going to say a month ago because it was after 4th of July, so yeah, coming up in a month ago. I go to the Half Price Books. And the thing about Half Price Books is that they have the record section, right? They have like the sections that are like this, where you flip through them, like that. Those are the main ones. Then below them, on a shelf right below them, they have clearance records, and they usually go $1, $2, $3. $3 is the highest I've seen one of them go. And the records I'm about to show you in a second here were all $2. And you're gonna see why that was so lucky. Now, usually the clearance section there has nothing good. I mean, just random live albums, classical stuff, random soundtracks of movies that I've never heard before. So, yeah, not much good. It's the equivalent of going to a Goodwill and expecting to find a good album there because there's really nothing. It's just a wasteland of just stuff. So I go, but I still like to give it a chance because I found some halfway decent stuff in there. Like, and when I say halfway decent, I mean literally just artists I recognized, not even artists that I liked, and not like, you know, artists that have made iconic albums. I'm talking like John Denver, Johnny Mathis, Barry Manilow. I mean, those people you can find in any, you know, Goodwill. So I'm looking down there and I'm seeing nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to searching the regular record section. Something tells me, because they have, like I said, a whole record section, and then on the other side of the shelves and the crates, they have a whole other set of records and a whole other clearance section on the other side. Something tells me to go on the other side and look in those clearance. Not to give up, but to make sure that there's nothing there. So I'm like, okay, might as well. First thing I see sticking out, like more than any other record, like they're all like this. It's sticking out like this. And I read the title, and for a second I thought I was dreaming, because I've had dreams. I'm literally, this is the most chronically online music nerd thing I'm ever gonna say in my entire life, but I literally have dreams of like finding records for an insanely cheap price. I'm not joking. But I pull it out, pinch myself a couple times. I'm not dreaming. This is Who's Next by The Who. In my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, one of the greatest rock albums, classic rock albums of all time. You've got Baba O'Reilly, Behind Blue Eyes, Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, just some staples and the genre. Now, of course, I mean, this looks like an original, so it's beat up. This is like folding up, like somebody tried to open it like an envelope. Don't know whose grandpa tried to do that, but the record itself, there's some little specks on it, but pretty good condition. I was shocked. Who was more shocked was my dad, because The Who is like his favorite band. He's seen them like 50 times, and I sent him a picture because it literally, price tag right there, I don't know if you can see it, $2. It looks like $5 from that angle, but it's reversed. So I immediately pull it out and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this, right? But then something tells me, keep looking. Because if this managed to creep into the clearance section, then there has to be more, right? If somebody didn't notice this. So I keep digging. I'm reading the titles. Now, the thing is about the clearance section is that they're all really old, beat up albums, for the most part. So sometimes it's hard to read the spines because they're ripped. And I read it, I'm like, no, that's not what I think it is. It's Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones. In my opinion, the second best. For me, it goes Sticky Fingers, this album, and Some Girls, which I have in there, which I didn't get for $2, but at least I got this. And oh my god, I was like, now I have to keep searching, because somebody was obviously not paying attention when they put these in the clearance section. Somebody was not, they obviously didn't know who these bands were. And I was just like, I was amazed. I was genuinely having a religious awakening at this point. But so, like I said, kept looking. Another thing that catches my eye is the Beatles, Revolver. This one shocked me because of how good condition the front cover is. The back is a little speckled, but it's still in like shockingly good condition for, you know, how old it is. And I was like, now I'm flipping through them at a mad pace, probably getting weird looks, but you know, I get weird looks in there all the time because I'm bent over for 30-45 minutes on end going through records. So I keep going through. Parallel Lines by Blondie. Keep in mind, I'd say about half of these albums were on my want list, because I have a vinyl want list on Spotify, and most of these were on them. This was on it. I was like, oh my god, and I immediately flashed back to when I like straight up gaslit my friend into buying a Blondie record for $20, $25 actually. And at that moment when I pulled this out for $2, I realized I was going to hell. But as a finale to this whole thing, I managed to pull out one other record, and it was just really the cherry on top. Jimi Hendrix's Rainbow Bridge soundtrack. Now at first, I thought this was just, I mean, it's amazing that it's Jimi Hendrix, but I thought it was like just a soundtrack, right? This kind of beat up. But the thing about this one was that I had never seen it before. I've seen most of his albums and his posthumous releases. I've never seen this before. So I Google it, and it's still in the store. I Google it. People are selling, somebody was selling this for $200 without the sleeve. Meaning they had only this, and they were selling it for $200. I had the cover. So, yeah. Lucky day for me. So, you know, I'm still, my parents are telling me, oh, you should sell it then. I don't know. Like, I listen to like the music on here. The guitar work is absolutely insane, but I mean, that's really no surprise. So, I don't know. I'm hanging on to it for now. I'm keeping it, but I don't know. So the funny thing, little funny kicker for the story, little seasoning in there. When I first saw these albums, I had only about, I'd say $6. $6, which means I couldn't afford all of them, but I had more money at my house. So what I did was, and this was before I knew that half price book you could ask and they'll put it on hold for you. Wish I knew that, but this was before I did. So what I did was I bought. Let's do some math right now. Each one's $2. I got 3 of them. I think it was the Stones, the Beatles, and Parallel Line. Yeah, it was. So I got these 3. I pedaled home on my bike so fast, I'm surprised I didn't collapse on the pavement from cardiac arrest. I was sweating, and I have like the sensory thing where like I cannot get wet with a shirt on under any circumstances. Then I'll just be suffering and on the verge of tears because it's just so insanely uncomfortable. But the adrenaline was pumping through me so fast, I did not care. I just needed these albums for the insane price before someone discovered the method. So I pedaled back and forth. I was back at the store. The other funny part was that I decided to pay in change. So I went home and I grabbed, I'd say about 12 quarters because I didn't have ones, and the rest I think all I had were 20s. And the thing, I don't like spending 20s on stuff that isn't over $10 because I don't know what it is. So I went and I just like got handfuls of quarters, stacked them up in 4s on my kitchen counter. You know, my mom came in, she was getting coffee or something. She probably thought I was an absolute lunatic because I was really like 1, 2, 3. I looked like a madman planning how to kill his next victim. All right, I'm gonna put this here. Like it was insane. But anything for the music. That's all I gotta say. So I go back to Half Price Books about 20 minutes later, pedaling again fast as the wind on my bike. So really, I mean, I'd probably cut that time in half. So I'd say 10, 12 minutes later, I'm back at the Half Price Books. I grab, you know, the 2 albums. Now the next part kind of makes me mad thinking back on it, but there was 2 copies of Abbey Road in there as well. Why I didn't pick those up is because I already have a new copy. Like I think it's the anniversary of it. So I was just like, you know what? I'll leave them for, you know, somebody who actually doesn't have Abbey Road and wants Abbey Road and finds it for $2. I'll let someone else's dream come true. So, yeah, I'm still waiting on my Nobel Prize for that because they looked old, like beat up and like tinted. So I mean, if those were worth something, yeah. I'm glad I don't know. So I have that. At least I have the Jimi Hendrix one. That's what I haven't looked on like Discogs for how much it's worth, but I just saw what people were listing it on eBay. I mean, again, that could just be somebody, you know, trying to rip people off. I don't know. But yeah, so I got back to Half Price Books. I grabbed the records, went to the cashier. The funny thing about the Half Price Books by me is that the same I swear to God, the exact same cashier is always there at the exact same time I'm there. So she probably thinks I'm like some kind of like, I shouldn't say what she thinks. I don't know her. But I went up there, I put my quarters on there. I put the albums down and I'm like digging in my pocket for quarters. And I start stacking them up in 4s at the cash register, looking like a Victorian peasant trying to buy their weekly loaf of bread. But I didn't care at that point because I just wanted the albums. I didn't care how I looked. And yeah, that was my luckiest vinyl experience. I'm still kind of reeling from. I was so happy when I got home. Just, I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just real quick. Get ready. I'm gonna flex on you guys real quick. I'm gonna make sure you see the price tags too. If you got a luckier story, tell me in the comments. I might block you.